I'm aware you've got a massive following. You've got nearly 1 million YouTube subscribers. You're an influential person and you have a lot to say about this issue, obviously. So I thank you for coming in, but I'm not too cowardly to talk to you. I don't have a horse in this race. I think I've tried to straddle a divide of being fair-minded with all sides. I've had all voices on the show.
I commend you for that, actually, to be honest, for bringing me on. But do realize I did caveat that with on fair ground. So let's hope that this interview is conducted.
I intend to be completely fair.
Yeah, sure.
I promise you, because all I want to get to here is a real sense of what is going to happen. We can all look back at. We can all look back. Let me just. We can all look back.
Before that, Piers. Yeah. Sorry, if you want to say fair grounds, you introduced me as a Palestinian controversial.
I actually corrected myself.
Right. So
I said pro-Palestinian. I meant to say pro-Palestinian.
So why did the word controversial come into play?
I think you're controversial.
So are you.
Yeah, I wouldn't have.
So is the ambassador. Why didn't you introduce her in that manner?
I'm happy to say that to many people, her views would be controversial.
So why didn't you introduce me as the Oxford graduate?
Do you want to be introduced as that?
Yes.
Okay, or an Oxford graduate.
Go ahead.
Okay, no problem. You can be introduced as anything you like, frankly. It makes no difference to the debate. Let me ask you this. Where were you when you heard about what happened on October the 7th?
I was at home.
What was your reaction when you heard?
I was actually very sickened by it. And this is something I do want to put on the table because I think it's fair for people to know this. In our religion, we do not believe, okay, as a Muslim, I am a Muslim, and I do not believe in the killing of any man, woman, or children. Non-combatants. That is not despite the religious teachings. That is because of the religious teachings. So in terms of condemning Hamas and just jumping straight into it, I condemn not only Hamas, but any other entity, okay, wherein it's proven that this has been done, that the killing of combatants has been done. Therein, I condemn any party that does it. Any party that kills people or strikes at people where it's more probable than not that it will hit a civilian target, I condemn them. And that's why I condemn the IDF. Because when they strike, they know that it's more probably than not going to hit civilian targets. They know that the majority of civilians, or the majority of people that are going to be affected are civilians. We know that from the various operations that have been conducted. We know that because now in Gaza you find that there is a blockade, as you know, for 17 years, but also they're stopping them from electricity, water, which is a war crime under Geneva 4 of the Geneva Convention, Protocol 4 of the Geneva Convention. So this is something I'm surprised you didn't actually mention to the ambassador. But
I did mention it.
You didn't say it's a war crime.
Well, I think it's an arguable point whether it's a war crime.
Okay, let me ask you now.
They are saying, Israel, at the moment, Israel is adamant they are not breaching war crimes, right? It will be determined. Well, it will be determined whether that's the case.
No, sorry.
What is it?
That's incorrect.
Mohammed, let me make a point to you back on that. I think surely we can agree that what happened on October the 7th was a war crime. I mean, when people are taking grandmothers and executing them, kidnapping young children, when they're killing babies in their cribs, we can agree that's war crime, right?
Okay, babies.
Can we?
Surely, of course, 100%.
Right.
But babies in the crib, sorry, what was the evidence for that?
You don't believe that happened?
CNN, the White House, Sky News, which you work for, all say...
I don't work for Sky News.
Well, your thing...
I did work at CNN. I saw one reporter who retracted it because she wasn't sure about the source.
It's unconfirmed by the White House.
But then the Daily Telegraph and the Jerusalem Post and other sources then did publish pictures,
CNN,
which indisputably show babies have been killed.
No, it showed one baby who's been charred, and that picture has been put up on Twitter and has been refuted by many people saying that it's actually AI.
That's completely untrue.
That is true. What's your source? What's your source?
There's been a thorough investigation into the claim that was put up there by some rogue person on Twitter that it was AI. It has been completely disproven.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
That picture, which was published on the Telegraph, is a genuine, legitimate picture.
What is your source?
Are you seriously arguing that babies weren't killed?
No, I didn't say that.
Well, what are you saying?
I'm saying, give me a source.
Yeah.
You know full well you've been fired from the Daily Mirror for fake images. So you know full well about the
I didn't accept they were faked.
Exactly, the UK government did.
Yeah, they did. Because the UK government, just to be clear, had waged, in my view, an illegal war in Iraq.
So you're allowed to go against the government, and I'm not allowed to go against the Israeli government?
Of course you're allowed to.
So tell me now, what's the source?
You seem to be making a lot of presumptions about me, Mohammed.
Yes, because you had softball questions for your ambassador of a great friend.
No, there weren't. I put all the questions to the ambassador. I was editor of the Daily Mirror when we opposed the Iraq war on the grounds that I believed it was an illegal war. I still believe that to this day. I think it stained this country.
Fantastic.
I don't think you even knew that.
I did know that.
Right.
But that's not the point I was making. I was making the point that if you're allowed to go against the government in their classification of an image, then if you have pro-Palestinian activists who are saying, actually, we need to see a source, shouldn't they be entitled to that?
The Daily Telegraph published on page 3.
Should they be entitled to that, yes
you're
or no?
talking about, the Daily Telegraph said they had independently verified the picture, Mohammed.
No, excuse me.
If you're saying that their verification is wrong.
No, excuse me. Primary source in academia, I know you've done a journalism degree, which is, frankly, is not relevant to what we're talking about here anyway.
Probably is to journalism, yeah.
No, it's not to this conflict, but we academics require primary source evidence in order to make it.
The Daily Telegraph said. The Daily Telegraph said they verified the picture.
That's a secondary source.
Fine. You may say
that's secondary source.
You may say
that's a secondary source.
Well, you may say you don't think it's genuine. I don't agree with you. But the wider point.
That was my point.
But
I said I want a source. I just want to see the evidence.
That's what we're arguing about here. You're not contesting that babies were killed.
No, I'm saying I want to see the evidence.
So why are you picking on the semantics of the veracity of one picture, which has been verified by British journalists? Why are you picking on that?
British journalists are not an authority. Some example of somehow
this wasn't as bad as it seems.
British journalists are not an academic authority. You know that full well. You've been fired from Daily Mirror for that very purpose. What I'm saying to you is this: putting this issue to the side, I think you're trying to use it as a red herring to move away from the bigger issues.
What red herring?
This is a red herring because already 1,023 children have been killed in Gaza. That's why. And you didn't ask the ambassador that question.
I literally asked the ambassador.
No,
I said 3,000 people have already been killed in a week in Gaza.
Well, you didn't ask her whether she
even listen to my interview with the ambassador?
I did listen, but excuse me.
Well, don't put words in my mouth or say I didn't ask a question.
Let me ask you a question. Do you condemn the killing of those children by the IDF?
I tell you what I condemn.
Yes or no?
I'm going to answer your question honestly and truthfully.
Sure.
And because I've tweeted about this, right?
Oh, okay.
I think that what happened on October the 7th was one of the worst atrocities I have ever had to read about or watch on.
It happens every day in Palestine.
No.
So why do you care about that?
It actually doesn't. It doesn't.
It does actually. Yes.
No. The Israeli forces.
I've got the stats for that.
Israeli forces do not go.
Cast-led.
Wait a minute, Mohammed.
Go and check it out.
Mohammed. Israeli forces.
Cast-led protective edge.
Israeli forces don't go into Gaza on one day and grab grandmothers and kill babies in their beds.
Okay.
And
hold on.
Rape and abuse women.
So, rape, is there any evidence for that?
It's been multiple reports in multiple mainstream media publications. Well, you can just sit here and deny everything.
No,
right?
I'm not denying anything.
You are.
No, I accept that some civilians have been killed. I do accept this. And I already said
you don't believe any of the reports that women were raped?
No, I didn't say that. I said that it's still to be
do you
verified.
think they were raped?
No, I don't know. It's like the Russell Brand thing. You said you don't know. You need to see the evidence. So why do you apply two different standards?
Okay, so
when it's Israel, we know they're raped. When it's Russell Brand, you don't know because you're your friend.
No, it's been reported by legitimate news sources.
When it's Israel, you know they're raped. But when it's Russell Brand, you don't know.
Them.
When it's Russell Brand, you don't know if they're raped.
There's no comparison between Russell Brand and what's happened.
It's the same thing. It's a rape allegation. Why are you stuttering?
I'm not stuttering.
You are stuttering.